Yay! Are we beating the drum? Oh, yay! First time live together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Break All Human Barriers.
I don't know what's coming. So
This channel has evolved and will continue to evolve. Yes. So, if you don't know yet,
I'm the son.
and his name is
Classified.
Matthew.
Okay.
So, we are here together because we will be.
Want to discuss something of interest? I want the mic. Give me the mic. Hello.
Right, so we don't want to keep it too close. Let's keep it here. I think they will still hear us.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. It's covering you, Maud. Let it be here. It's covering you. I can't see. It's
Let's
covering your
put
body.
it in the middle. We should have said this before, right?
Yes. It's okay. Anyway, so today we will be deliberating on the pros and in a teenager. I'm not a teenager, as you can see.
Anymore?
Yes, I used to be, like every human being. We have to go through that process of life, which is quite essential to growth. So I would like to discuss or view my point on being a mom of a teenage young man because that's the way I refer to my child. He's a young man, is a man in making, so I choose to call him a young man rather than call him a boy. He's you're no longer a boy, are
Well,
you?
I mean, if you think about it, my mustache is finally going in, so I'm a man and a half.
Only you get that. Oh my god. So yeah, this is my first time of being a mom of a teenage young man.
And in a couple of years, I'll be mum of an adult.
Yes.
Mum of an adult.
Yes. So the pros and cons of being a mom of a teenager. Like they normally tell you, they said, oh, when you have children, as they grow up, it's going to become easier and easier and easier.
I consider myself easy.
I mean, it's not specifically about you. I'm talking on general terms now. I said children, yeah. So when you're talking, that's the saying. That's what you hear oftentimes, that when you're a child, because when you give birth to children, you go through that early stage, that trimester period of waking up, going to bed late and waking up early to feed the babies. Or most of what you do when you have children is clean, feed, watch over.
I think what they mean is that when your child grows up, you're not gonna have to deal with such things anymore, because they can obviously wake themselves up. They have a set alarm, and they have to be more disciplined, and they have their own responsibilities now. Obviously, I don't really,
Yeah,
I don't
that too.
Yeah, we have our own responsibilities, but it doesn't necessarily become easier, because since you've been with them for like a decade and maybe a half. Like in my case, a decade and a half.
Yeah.
They get so accustomed and grown to you that they treat you like pals, basically. If the same way they'll know a friend for a year or two, then they get more comfortable with each other. Now, let's say, for example, sorry, I'm kind of taking the line.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
But let's say, for example, you have someone who just met a new person, and they're like socially awkward towards them from the beginning, and they don't want to like talk to them, and then maybe they see each other more often, and they're literally forced to talk to each other, or like they're in the same class or in the same group, or something like that. So they eventually have to like communicate with one another, and then they find out, oh, they have a couple of things in common, or they don't have a couple of things in common. They'll either have like a good relationship, or bad relationship, but they'll still end up having a relationship with that person. Either way, as time goes on, they get more accustomed and grow like with that person, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying basically that's what that statement means, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does evolve from you having to change nappies and waking up late, going to bed late, just feeding this baby who cannot communicate in the same language that you are communicating with them, because all they do is
with noise. It's
noise. To them it's communication. To us, we are trying to learn their language, and vice versa. So it's kind of a complicated stance to be. So they tell you, oh, it's going to get better, but I say, as a mom of a teenager who have gone through that process of that early stage to the toddler stage to when you are 10, yeah, to all through that processes, that it's just another stage in life. It's just it's like you're moving from level 1 to level 2.
Yeah.
So the experiences you gather from level 2 is completely different from the experiences that you had gathered from level 1. So that what they said is going to get better and better is a bit incomplete.
It changes.
It's incomplete because it's like we're going through life and you face a particular challenge, yeah, and you overcome that challenge. That challenge that you have overcome helps you to garner knowledge. And when you garner knowledge, when you have to come across that challenge again, you know what to do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that when you resolve that first challenge and you have another challenge to handle, it doesn't mean you're going to use the same knowledge you have garnered from the first challenge for the second challenge. It's completely different. So they shouldn't say it's going to get better. They should say you're going to grow along with it. And life is about growing.
That's true.
You're growing from stage 1 to stage 2, 3, and so on and so on.
So it's...
Don't push the...
Oh, sorry. So, really? I didn't notice.
Yeah, you're pushing it.
There we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you get accustomed with the child, and like you get to understand them more.
Yes.
Who they are, what type of person they are, and in your case, what they'll eventually start to do. You know.
Yeah.
And you know how mischievous or naughty one may be.
Yeah.
You can work your way around such things.
Absolutely.
Because they get smarter. I mean, a toddler doesn't know how to hide their phone, and their mom takes it away from them.
Yeah.
For example. Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't know how to do such things, but a teenager, they have the intelligence to do something like that. Let's say, for example, they're hiding. They have the I guess I don't know how to explain it really, but they can now hide things. They can be more mischievous. More, I don't know if to call it like morality to an extent. Yeah. Or,
morality.
I mean, because a baby won't have the intent to steal, or they won't have the intent to hide things.
When you say babies, at what stage?
Toddler to adolescence.
Yeah, toddlers are mischievous.
From 3 till 10 years old, they won't, if they have something that they're not supposed to have. Yeah. They won't hide it. It'll eventually be out in the open.
Toddlers are mischievous.
Well, I can't.
Toddlers, being a toddler, between that, from that to 1.5, 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, is a mischievous state. They are that's why they call them cheeky monkeys. That most of the time, that's why they use that term, cheeky monkeys. Are you being a cheeky monkey today? Oh, you cheeky little one, because they are mischievous at that stage. They are when you were that age, the word I constantly used for you was explorer. Yeah. So
that's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do, because they are exploring. They are trying to understand their world. They are trying to try new things. Just mischievous, really. And
if I'm being honest, that also rolls in with the teenage years as well. Eventually, they're just as mischievous, and maybe even more because they have the intelligence now. But also, there's a lot of emotions that come with it. So. Because puberty, all that sort of stuff. That, as you can see by the thumbnail, though, for those of you who are watching, I don't think it's actually like this, but it says sex at the back. Yeah. Then
you mean the part of the emotions? Expressed. Yeah.
Then it doesn't say on the image, but I'm sure a lot of teenagers are very edgy. So your stereotype teenager. Maybe in the 90s, sometimes even... Actually, no, that is in the 90s. I feel old.
Okay.
But saying in the 90s.
Okay, I'm going to cut in there. Because when you're talking about the different eras, it's completely different. It's going to be a completely different topic to what we are discussing now. Because my era, being a teenager, the culture then was completely different. And culture does progressively change.
Elaborate.
When I say, for example, when I was a teenager, there were certain things that we were not allowed to do when I was a teenager.
Obviously.
But today, because of the culture, then we're not allowed to do, especially being a girl. It still applies today. For example,
Times change. Culture stay the same. Times change. I don't want to go too off of topic, so I'll try and sway back into the topic. But the culture remains the same. It's just that, let's say for example, LGBTQ. The culture stays the same. But now it's more woke, and accepting of LGBTQ community. But the culture, let's say for example the British culture or I'll stick to the British culture because it's the most woke.
It's the one you can relate with.
That too. They also now accept LGBTQ when in the past they didn't.
Well, let's not digress.
I'm just
let's not digress.
I'm just trying to use that as an example
for the culture,
to say that culture stays the same. But it's the times that change.
Okay, I'll take that. But the times that change do have effect on culture. Do you know that?
Yeah, obviously, because
so it can invariably change the culture. For example, it was the culture in the UK, say in the 60s, that being an LGBTQ, is it LGBTQ?
LGBTQ.
Being that was against the normative. It was against the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
So what has happened today? We agree that the times have changed. Has the culture changed?
Slightly, because they're more accepting. But because I'll say, you're making a good argument. I don't like that.
Okay. That's why we're here doing this together.
But the thing is, oh wow, we've been on here for a while. Because the times have changed. Because gradually, slowly but surely, new things will eventually pop up. But the culture's still fish and chips, let's be fair. Okay? The culture is basically kind of still the same. But I'll have to agree that it has slightly shifted a bit.
It has shifted. There's been a great shift.
Okay, it shifted because
in this culture, which is also shall I say kind of forcing other cultures around the world to be accepting of.
But it's changed because of the times. It's changed because of the times.
Absolutely.
So with these new ideologies that are popping up, whatever it may be, because of these new ideologies that appear over time, these new thoughts or these new way of thinking, that has again, like you said, forced the culture to shift.
Yeah.
But at the same, as you said, now that they're pushing their culture or their not their culture,
ideology,
not their ideology,
yeah,
their mentality
yeah.
on other people, but they don't really accept. Not many accept it. Let's be fair.
It's an ideology. It's not the culture of the land, is it?
It's not many. It's the people. It's the people. Right. People from Africa can come here, switch with the people from the UK, and the only thing that will be different is how this place is managed and the mentality. It's the people.
Yeah,
it's not really
but it's also being done politically.
You're saying that mentalities and ideologies are being forced into other countries.
Yeah, it's also being done politically. For example, did you hear of the fact that Uganda in Africa were being told to be accepting of
LGBT?
Yeah.
But for example, let's take an Arab country. For example, they will never.
No.
No.
Because they are not just embracing of their own culture, but religion as well.
It's set within their religion.
Yeah.
It says this is wrong, and they stick to that.
Yeah.
And
that's their belief. Yeah. Okay. But coming back to.
I wanted to continue.
Okay, tell us.
But and I'm sure I might be wrong, but in the African culture.
Yeah.
I can't speak for every single African culture.
I'll tell you if you're wrong. I'm here.
Please do. They also don't accept the LGBTQ and see it as something that's not necessarily natural.
Okay, this is going to be a topic for next time, probably next week.
And also because it's kind of, yeah,
we'll talk about it next week. Let's come back to
teenager
being a. What are the pros? You tell me. What are the pros of being a teenager, and what are the pros of? The cons of being a teenager. For me, being a mom of a teenager, there are loads of pros when it comes to being a teenager. Being a mom of a toddler is completely different. Being a mom of a teenager, in that one, you get your once quiet and running around. Mom calling all the time, child now challenging you of your own opinions, which is progressive, by the way, if you are a parent who is open-minded.
You don't necessarily want to,
because at the end of the day, we learn a lot from these children, and vice versa. So it's not one way.
You don't necessarily
one-way relationship.
You don't necessarily want like a submissive child or anything like that.
No.
Because then how they're going to take that out into the actual
absolutely
world? Because let's say, for example, if they're being submissive at home, it's like how they're going to be everywhere else.
Absolutely.
And they won't be able to voice their own opinions or ideas. Because in our school, there's this. It's for men and women, male and female. There's this thing called diva.
Right.
And there's another thing called alpha. Basically, it's where we just where a group of men and
careful.
It was my foot.
Yeah. Okay.
A group of men.
Yeah.
And like a group of women separately, actually.
Yeah.
In different rooms. We both just converse with each other like controversial topics.
Right.
So everyone has their say. Everyone voices their opinion, speaks out whatever they want to say, basically.
Right.
And if the child is generally maybe submissive at home, they won't necessarily want to voice their opinion out and agree with what everyone else is saying.
Yeah, because they've not been given that platform to be expressive at home.
But generally, unless the child is being because there's discipline, beating, and then there's abusive beating.
Yeah.
If the child is being abused, where am I going with this? If the child
you tell me.
If the child is being abused, they won't. They will stick to being submissive, or if they're being like abducted or something like that.
Right.
But naturally, the 13 onwards is where the standing up against, not really standing up against, but the rebellion kicks in.
Starts. It's normal for a teenager to become rebellious at a stage, because this is a human being that has been brought into this world and kind of cultivated by their parents to go this way and not to go the other way, then the teenage era is a time to be able to have that space to question that path your parents have introduced to you. You then begin to, because you have cultivated your own beliefs, system of belief. So it comes to this place of confliction sometimes in the life of that teenager.
You're thinking about it more like an ideological sense, isn't it? Like,
no, not ideological. I mean, this is what every teenager, every human
no,
goes
I mean, if you have an idea,
yeah,
let's say for example you believe that this prime minister was the best prime minister,
uh-huh,
and then I have the idea that this prime minister was not the best prime minister,
yeah,
another one was,
yeah,
and then I'm now able to say that, oh, no, I believe that you're wrong,
mm-hmm,
yeah, that's what you're thinking about, right?
No.
Okay.
Well, close
because
yeah.
there's that finally being able to argue against or debates against,
and there are some other, for example, if I'll use attending churches as an example, like when I was a teenager, because my mom specifically liked some type of churches. So when I became a teenager and I got admitted into the university back home in Nigeria, then I started addressing the Bible completely differently. The way I viewed it and the way I was taught in that church that I grew up attending was completely different. I became kind of woke. Like, I was like, oh, so why are they doing that? Oh, why are they doing that? So I started questioning
the ideas.
Yes, the ideas.
But there's another kind.
The teenage era is that space you get to now, start questioning some things with your parents or even with society. But again, how you now portray those ideas that is popping up in your head, or those things that you have questions about, that's the thin line, whether you're going to be a rebellious teenager or a teenager that is ready to reason.
But there's another kind of rebellion, isn't it?
So,
because you're thinking about, again, like I said, the ideology, religion, what? Rebellion, yeah. But there's another kind, is when your mum or dad or parental figure or guardian,
authorities,
tells you, okay, Timmy, wash the dishes, yeah. And then Timmy says, no, I don't want to wash the dishes. That's a different kind of rebellion, where I guess, because, as a parent, you tell people, oh, no, wait, my throat.
Anyway.
You tell your kid, no, wait, no, oh, go do this, or oh, go do that, or get this for me, or do that. And then it's that, 13-year mark, that the child finally is like, no, against authority. That there's, you're right, but I've seen kids in their adolescence question ideologies if they've been brought up a certain way,
of course,
or if they have a certain mental capacity.
And when teenagers get to that stage of that era of being able to express themselves that way, it like I said, it's always both ways. It lies on both parties, how the teenage tend to portray their beliefs to to a stage of questioning it is one thing, and how the parents,
obviously we now have the mental capacity to think of such things as what me and my mother are debating right now. If I was even 5 years younger than I am now, I don't think I would have been talking about something.
Oh, you were a chatterbox when you were.
Yeah, I would have
You've always been a chatterbox.
I would have talked. I would have talked. I mean, before. I would have talked, but not like this.
No, not
like this.
Because you've acquired a lot of knowledge now. Yeah.
But the cons, I believe, are obviously peer pressure. It's not something you can really control, per se, but it happens. And it's more prone to happen. Well, no, it can happen if you're an adolescent as a child as well, if you're 10. Yeah. But it can happen on a much larger scale. Let's say if you're 10, someone will probably pressure you to jump over something or something like that, something very small and minor. But if you're, I don't know, a teenager, someone will probably pressure you to like steal or start doing drugs, something like that. There's like a big difference between what someone will pressure you to do when you're 10 and what someone will pressure you to do when you're nearly my age.
Yeah, a teenager.
I'll just put it like that. But obviously that obviously poses as well, because we now have the brain capacity, it is possible for a teenager to talk pretty sophisticatedly as like an adult. Also, the moustache is so beautiful.
You and this your mustache. Oh God.
It's kicking in. Look at my arm hair, guys.
You see, this is what being a mom of a teenage young man is.
But obviously there are also some...
It's another level of challenge.
But those are like the mental and like social pros and cons. Physical pros and cons, your balls drop. You have,
what did you say?
Have bigger muscles. And you know, depending on male or female, things happen. So yeah, puberty kicks in that. So big up puberty.
So you're talking essentially about the body change.
There are also bodily changes.
Your anatomy.
But personally, that's actually a con because I really hate pimples with a passion.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're 10 and you do an exercise routine, I don't really think you'll be able to push out 15 push-ups or 20 push-ups if you're 10. Unless you had like some crazy genetics. I don't want to start talking about gender. Yeah. So obviously there are some physical pros and cons. Yeah. Whether that be pimple, you know, or muscle build or body hair. Yeah. Yeah. But there are also the mental pros and cons, which I said, which are now being able to talk more sophisticatedly and peer pressure. I mean,
sophisticatedly.
Indubitably, yes. I will never say indubitably.
Are you talking about the voice change or the grammar?
That is also both, actually. The voice deepens. You get your Adam's apple, all that kabaz.
Right.
All that stuff.
Let's see the mustache. Ganton pariwo. Hey, rishi.
It's huge. My mustache is there. You just can't see it because it's so beautiful that.
What about the cons?
The cons? Physical and mental.
Anyone that you want to mention?
I think, from my experience, the biggest con is peer pressure, and obviously the mood swings. I don't really like that. It happens out of nowhere, to be completely honest with you.
It's normal. It's
normal, but I just don't like it because let's say I'm having a normal conversation with a friend and then out of nowhere I just snap for no reason, you know? Or vice versa. It just happens. Or, you know, you have some people like at the back of the class, their mood swings could be completely different. It could be depression. It could be stress. There's a lot of mental, you know, like a lot of teenagers probably, I'm saying, not from experience obviously, but I'm saying this like from what I've read on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not the best website, but I'm saying this from what I've read. A lot of teenagers, due to like exams or stress at home or stress with friends, a lot of them may take their life. Yeah,
that's depression.
Yeah, and it happens a lot, rather in like middle-aged men or teenagers. Do you know that 70% of suicides are committed by men between teenage and middle age?
Yeah, that would be another topic. It just brought another topic for us to discuss, because when it comes to men and boys, the way,
the pressures of it.
yeah, the societal expectation and pressure and belief. We've been conditioned to believe that men shouldn't cry. We've been conditioned to believe that men are strong, they are, nothing untouchable and all that stuff. But men are humans.
And, yeah.
They have body, flesh, and they feel pain. And when they feel pain, they should be allowed to express it, either by crying or you cry over it, but don't stay there. Don't remain in that dungeon of well of tears. So you need to, as why they say be a man, is express that emotion, but don't remain there. Straighten yourself up and then get on with it. Get back on your feet, because there are many people counting on you as a man. The women around you needs to be protected. The children need to be protected. Even your community needs to be protected. The country needs to be protected. So you can't remain there for a long. So men are not allowed to express fully, what comes to them, as opposed to women who are more emotional. And that's where the balance is, because no man can say, the alpha and omega, blah, 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 nonsense. You need the soft touch of a woman to bring balance to your mental well-being. Yeah.
And I was actually about to put that in, but I didn't know how I was going to somehow put it into what I was going to say. But you've actually given me a nice pedestal to talk about it. Chris Rock once said that only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. And a man is loved under a condition that he provides. What do you think about that?
I think it's selfish for any woman to expect that, and it's selfish for any society to expect that a man provides unconditionally without even taking into consideration the mental well-being of that man. Because when that man crumbles, the community crumbles when it comes to protection. Who then protects? Do the women have to step up now to do what the men have been proposed to do? So when the man is providing and the man hits rock bottom, I think it will be more loving for the woman to come in and give their own soft touch to that man in order to bring that man back up. Yeah. So if you really care about that man, then you should care about the man's mental well-being. Yeah.
But back to the pros and cons of being a teenager.
I think you've stated it all, because we might just remain here for as long as yeah.
You see, I told you it's a bit deviatory.
Yeah, it is deviatory.
When someone else is there, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And more enjoyable as well. Because as opposed to how I've been running this channel, which is just talking to all of you viewers, it's completely different to when I have to sit down with one-on-one with
someone else.
Not just someone else, my child, who is a chatterbox and who is so expressive, because that's the way I brought him up. We just enjoy each other's company, and most likely this is how this channel is going to evolve. Or we will see, because this channel has evolved. If you look at my old videos, you see how much this channel has evolved.
I want to chip something in. So, shameless promotion. I'm not trying to abandon my channel.
Here we go. So,
kind of, check mine out. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll bring all that in later. Not now. We'll bring all that in later.
40 minutes. That's a long time.
Alright, so we're going to end it here. I'm sure we'll continue this topic tomorrow. Yes, we will. Let's continue this.
Part 2?
Yeah, part 2. Let's do it part 2.
Pros and cons.
Yes.
Tomato. Same thing.
Not same thing. Maybe talk about another aspect that we haven't really addressed. We'll talk about it later.
Do you want to talk about your experience?
Yes.
As a teenager? When
all of it.
I ask you.
Yeah.
So now that I basically just spoiled what we're gonna do tomorrow.
Yeah, Mr. Spoiler.
Stay tuned for it
Spoiler
because it sounds interesting, isn't it?
Okay, it's here we draw the curtain and say adios. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Thank you for the one who joined us today.
Where? Oh yeah.
There was a one who joined us today, but that's life. This is just the beginning of spicy things.
Yeah. Whoa.
Bye.
Bye. I feel weird in a minute.